This week I've added a number of small features to Lumbermill rather than focusing on just one big feature. These will make working on the game much easier and also gets the game ready for the next big feature I'll be working on. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas, suggestions or feedback. It's really helpful and gives me an idea of what people think so far. Anyway, I began by adding a button to the toolbar, which I'll be using a lot in development. It regenerates the world with one click, allowing me to quickly see how the layout can vary from game to game. It won't be visible to the players though, as it wouldn't make sense for the player to regenerate the forest mid-game, deleting all their progress. That was quick to add, so I got to work on another feature I've been meaning to add for a while, bulldozing. Having added the button to the toolbar alongside the regenerate button, I coded the bulldoze tool to highlight the current object that is to be bulldozed in red, and simply destroying it when the object is clicked. Some things can't be bulldozed, such as rivers, the trading house and the lumbermill building, but otherwise most other things can, including trees. Buildings that have cost money to construct will return half of their value back to the player's bank. This will serve as a quick way to regain funds in the game if they're running low. A major part of the game will be how the forest is limited to the player at first before they buy up land to build on. I decided next I needed to implement the boundary fence, which will dictate to the player the area of land they currently own. At first I tested this with a plain white square, where all the area within that square is represented as owned in the code. I tested that with areas of varying size before I committed to drawing sprites. I drew 8 fence pieces in total, one for each possible angle at which a fence might face. When I put the fence in the game, I discovered that for some reason my code was only placing some fences. And when I fixed that, I discovered that none of the corners linked up. This was caused by me accidentally switching the north and south sprites in the code. And as you can see here, when I select the fence that isn't joined correctly in Unity, it is stated as south when it should be north. I fixed that by just switching north and south over in the code. The next bug that came up was that I was able to place buildings outside of the boundary despite the indicators showing red. I also discovered a similar problem where lumberjacks could straight up walk through the fences. The game basically just puts a fence wherever there's a boundary between owned and unowned land and then calculates the direction of the fence based on which neighbours are owned. I fixed the first by adding an extra check to the placer tool, and the lumberjack issue was fixed by making sure all trees are checked to be within the owned area before the lumberjack can chop them down. As you can see here, you can't build anything outside the boundary now, and the employees actually respect property laws. Anyway, that's all for this week. Remember to subscribe, like the video, or leave a comment and tell me what you think. See you next week.